The movie opens in Bangkok, capturing the city's vibrant nightlife. In one nightclub, a group of men hold several girls captive, administering illegal substances to them. Outside, Curtie Church watches the club's entrance while enjoying local street food. Soon, the men exit the club and briefly chat with three women nearby. Curtie enters a public restroom where he creates an improvised explosive device. He wraps a flammable substance in foil, places it in a balloon, and adds acid, forming a makeshift detonator attached to C4. Setting the timer for 1 minute, he exits and heads towards the group. Curtie throws the device, which detonates, killing the men and destroying their motorcycles. He then drags a large duffel bag to the scene, extracts the body of a man, shoots the one surviving man, and arranges the scene to implicate the deceased as the bomber. Curtie notices a girl in a blue dress watching from a distance, but he ignores her and quickly departs before the police arrive. Shortly thereafter, Advisor Poon learns of the explosion that killed his men. An informant suggests their rival gang has violated their truce, but Poon doubts this, noting it doesn't fit their usual tactics. Meanwhile, the local man who hired Curtie rewards him with $60,000 in cash for his successful mission.
6 men, 10 grand ahead. 60,000.
He reveals his motive for revenge, as his daughter was turned into an addict by the gang, but his thirst for retribution remains unsatisfied. He urges Curtie to eliminate the entire gang and its leader, showing him a photo of his late daughter. The scene shifts to a club where an Englishman named Jimmy showcases his ability to assemble rifles blindfolded. Bragging about his skills, he's interrupted by a subordinate, who informs him that someone is looking for him outside. Noticing Curtie, Jimmy recognizes him and flees, puffing on a cigar, perhaps to boost his stamina, I guess. Chasing the Englishman, the strong, athletic, bald man, Curtie, calls out,
"English, why are you running?"
It seems rhetorical, as their pursuit intensifies across the city, inadvertently involving bystanders. Throughout the chase, Curtie attempts to reassure Jimmy that he only wants to talk. After a relentless pursuit, Curtie finally catches him, and a few powerful blows bring Jimmy to a listening halt. It turns out they know each other well. Jimmy had thought Curtie was there to kill him.
How can you even think that shit about me?
They always send someone you know.
I'm on a job here, and you're not it.
Curtie explains he has no intention of harm. Instead, he's on an important mission and needs Jimmy's help with weaponry.
Oh, for Christ's sake. You know this is Versace. It's not a knockoff either. Do you know what it is to get Versace into Thailand?
Owing Curtie a life debt, Jimmy is somewhat compelled to assist. In a gesture of trust, Curtie hands his gun to Jimmy, who nervously returns it, acknowledging his anxiety. Curtie reveals he was hired for revenge by a father grieving over his daughter, who was victimized by the gang, and now he needs serious firepower. Jimmy leads Curtie to a remote warehouse full of weapons. When Curtie reaches for one of the legendary weapons, Jimmy swiftly dissuades him, advising that these are not for rent.
Wrong section, not for rent. That was used by Lee Marvin in Prime Cut. He shot Gene Hackman with it, and I've got the papers to prove it. This M1 was used by Clint himself in Pink Cadillac.
And suggests looking at other options. Curtie settles on renting an Accuracy International rifle for $1,000 a day. He requests a 30x scope.
What about scope 30 times?
You're trying to hit something in Cambodia.
But Jimmy only has a 15x, throwing in a night vision scope as a bonus. Curtie also borrows Jimmy's golf bag. Setting up in an old tower near a church and cemetery, Curtie stashes his gear under the floorboards and keeps watch over the gang's club, Kitty Cat. He purposely loosens a floorboard to creak as a makeshift alarm. During dinner, Curtie watches monks performing a religious ceremony in a temple next to the cemetery, when suddenly, the girl he noticed during his mission appears behind him, referring to the ceremony as
initiation of a monk.
Surprised and wary, Curtie immediately draws his gun and questions why she is following him. The girl says her name is May, and explains that she was drawn by the sound of the chanting and stumbled upon him by accident. However, she insists their meeting is not coincidental, persuading Curtie that it is fate. Noticing her tracks, he realizes she may soon become unpredictable and ties her to a pole. After checking his creaking step trap and finding it untouched, Curtie is puzzled about how she approached him silently. The next day, May begins to feel so bad that she begs Curtie to untie her, promising to do whatever he wants. However, Curtie tells her that she will feel better when it's all over. As a monk starts ringing the bell, Curtie times his hammering of a handmade suppressor to coincide with the bell's rings. Later that night, noticing that May feels better, Curtie unties her and gives her some water.
There's water there for you to clean up.
He reveals that he must kill her because she knows where he is hiding. She responds,
"You were sent because my time there was finished."
He then ties her arms and instructs her to keep watch over the club while he sleeps. May surprises Curtie with her understanding of his plan.
That is not their club.
I know. They'll be showing up there anyway.
Because you made it look like one of the guys from the club just attacked them.
Initially, May refuses to help because she is aware that Curtie will be killing people, but he firmly convinces her that eliminating the kidnappers is justified. Not long after, a group of men on motorbikes and cars pulls up to the club. May wakes Curtie up as the men start shooting at the guards outside. Curtie springs into action, taking out the attackers one by one with precise shots, creating chaos among them. He tells May to stop crying to avoid giving away their position, but it makes you wonder. You're firing from a big-ass accuracy international, which even with a suppressor makes a ton of noise. Why worry so much about May crying? Regardless, he skillfully takes out the drivers, preventing the gang from escaping the scene. After a prolonged shootout, only a few men manage to flee. The next day, Big Boss Kata is immersed in his favorite painful ritual, driving a hot needle through his cheeks, when his tranquility is shattered by a henchman bringing news of their failed mission the night before. The henchman reports the presence of a sniper, but the advisor interjects, noting that using a sniper isn't their style, and suggesting that someone else might be involved in the conflict. Meanwhile, Curtie presses May to disclose another location where girls are taken. May resists, so to coerce her, he points a rifle at a monk and threatens to shoot if she doesn't cooperate.
Okay.
With no other choice, May leads Curtie to a scrapyard, where she shows him the body of a girl named Mei Ying, who was murdered a few days earlier. However, this isn't quite what Curtie was expecting.
You misunderstood me. I want to know where else they had you working.
May then takes him to a mansion heavily guarded by its own private army.
Well, I didn't think there'd be as many, or this organized.
That evening, Curtie receives another payout after successfully eliminating 11 people in a nightclub. Suddenly, he stabs a man's hand for whatever reason, and shouts, "Cow," the name of the criminal group he's entangled with. This syndicate, known for its ruthless human and drug trafficking operations, is notorious for exterminating its enemies. Curtie is furious because the man hadn't informed him about their dangerous reputation.
Hey, listen, I'm sorry to have involved you in this, but we can walk away from this, right?
Terrified, the man advises Curtie to stop, but Curtie is determined to see the job through.
I'm out.
Deal was all of them. You're out when it's done.
As he leaves the hotel room, he unexpectedly encounters May, who is supposed to be waiting for him downstairs. Meanwhile, Big Boss Kata and his men arrive at the nightclub, not to initiate further violence, but on a peace mission with a rival group. They bring a white elephant as a symbol of peace. Curtie suspects the elephant might be painted, but May clarifies that the coloration is natural, sharing a story about Buddha's mother who dreamt of a white elephant presenting her with a lotus flower just 3 nights before Buddha's birth. For reasons unknown, Curtie opts not to open fire this time. On the journey home, Mr. Boone suggests that the boss pass the responsibility onto his son. However, the boss harbors doubts about his son's capability to lead, given his frequent absences. Torn between his son and his trusted advisor, he prefers the advisor to take over because of their close relationship. Yet Boone humbly confesses he doesn't feel worthy to lead, and expresses his willingness to serve as an advisor to the son once the boss hands over the reins of the business. The next day, Curtie barges into Jimmy's office, taking down his guards. He finds Jimmy engaged in a pleasant activity, interrupting him abruptly.
Get out! Wait, no, not you.
Jimmy protests that Curtie has killed members of the gang that allow him to trade weapons in the city.
I didn't know who I was up against.
He fears that if Boone discovers Curtie is using his specialized weapons for these killings, it could mean his death. Curtie acknowledges that the man who hired him broke their deal, but he's determined to complete his mission regardless. He demands more sophisticated weaponry for his actions. Initially, Jimmy is reluctant, but Curtie reminds him of a favor he owes.
You owe me.
Another lie!
With no other choice, Jimmy agrees to help him and takes him to another warehouse, concealed on a boat. Jimmy showcases his arsenal to Curtie, who remains unimpressed until Jimmy presents the largest caliber he has, the Barrett M82. Jimmy then asks Curtie to hit him, so he can convincingly claim to the gang that he was robbed. Curtie complies, breaking Jimmy's nose and splattering his shirt with blood.
Versace?
No, it's Paul Smith!
Curtie returns to the tower and finds that May has somehow disappeared. He checks his belongings and finds everything untouched. He rushes to find her, and she mysteriously appears from behind.
Your nuts are getting floppy.
She tells him she had joined the monks for a prayer. May notices a photo of a girl given to Curtie by his employer. Curtie admits there's nothing noble in what he's doing. He's just in it for the money. However, May believes there's more to it than money. She suggests taking the long way back to ensure the ghosts of his victims cannot follow him. Curtie is annoyed by her constant religious references. Curtie reaches the top of a building and looks towards another building May had pointed out earlier. There, he witnesses mobsters torturing girls and is horrified to see one of the girls killed mercilessly. He begins picking off the gang members one by one, killing dozens. However, May suddenly appears at the scene, distracting him by speaking to a mobster. At that moment, Curtie is shot in the left shoulder by another sniper. He attempts to retaliate, but a bullet hits his rifle, rendering it useless. Forced to flee, he finds refuge in a dark alley. Curtie then attacks two drivers and steals their mini lorry truck. He manages to break through gunfire and takes cover on a secluded country road. Hearing cries from the back, he opens the doors and is stunned to find May among several other girls inside, some of whom are injured. Curtie urges them to leave immediately, but some of the girls hesitate, unsure of where to go and fearful of punishment for escaping.
It's because of the drugs. They need to go back.
May takes Curtie back to the temple. Along the way, Curtie demands an explanation for her presence there.
I went to tell them if they would stop what they are doing, you would stop killing them.
At the temple, monks treat him with ancient medicine, while May stays close by. Meanwhile, Advisor Boone scolds his men for their failure to kill Curtie. They show him a picture of Curtie and report that the sniper hit him, but they are unsure how he survived. The boss enters the room, and they examine the rifle Curtie left behind during his escape. The gang later confronts Jimmy with the weapon, and he admits he was recently robbed. When they ask about the robber's appearance, Jimmy describes him as a white boy, about his height and slightly overweight. Knowing Curtie's actual appearance, the advisor realizes Jimmy is lying but chooses to keep this information to himself. Advisor Boone then orders his men to keep a close watch on Jimmy going forward. A few days later, Curtie watches from the top of a building and notices thugs following Jimmy. He eliminates two men tailing Jimmy. Curtie then confronts Jimmy in his nightclub and informs him that he has taken care of his pursuers, but this news baffles Jimmy.
Oh, great. So with that, you just confirmed my involvement.
Jimmy drives Curtie to his warehouse. At that moment, the iPhone 16 Pro Max that Curtie took from one of the thugs rings. It's boss Kata on the line. Curtie uses this opportunity to threaten Jimmy with exposing his involvement.
You want to say hello?
Unless he provides more weapons.
Am I getting what I want?
What is it you want?
Not you. Hold on. I'll give you some time to think about it. I'm back.
Boss Kata then offers to negotiate, explaining that most of the girls are sold by their parents to settle debts, and he claims only a small profit from these transactions. However, Curtie is undeterred and insists on continuing his fight. He threatens Jimmy again, but this time, Jimmy decides to reveal his involvement to Kata. Stripping Curtie of his leverage. In response, Jimmy tries to force Curtie out of his car, but Curtie, now desperate, holds him at gunpoint, demanding more weapons.
You're not gonna shoot me.
I might as well. You're as good as dead unless I get another gun. Now give me another gun so there won't be anybody left to come after you.
With no other options, Jimmy complies and supplies him with additional firearms and ammunition. Back in the tower, Curtie modifies his shotgun with a large triangular funnel muzzle, reminiscent of something from the video game Contra. During a discussion about religion, May reveals that the man who hired Curtie is more than just an ordinary employer. This revelation confuses Curtie, and he decides to uncover the true identity of his hirer.
You're crazy, man. I told you to stop killing them.
You owe me 10 o'clock, same hotel room.
He arranges a meeting with the man, but deliberately misses it, choosing instead to wait outside the hotel to follow him. Curtie tails the man as he leaves the failed meeting and enters a rundown building. Following him inside, Curtie discovers the building is a brothel. To gather information about his employer, he poses as a customer and questions a girl about the man. After describing him, the girl reveals that he is actually their boss and his office is upstairs. As Curtie approaches the office, the girl alerts the guards, shouting that the black man is coming to kill the boss. A fierce firefight erupts, with Curtie skillfully using his fighting prowess and the Contra shotgun to battle his way through to the semi-final boss. After eliminating all the adversaries in the building, he finally confronts the man. Curtie demands all his money and seeks an explanation for the manipulation.
What's this really about? My way of making war with a chained cow without you losing man?
Do you really care?
The man does not reveal the truth, instead offering to double Curtie's payment if he agrees to eliminate Advisor Boone.
Why him and not the boss?
The old man is sick. He'll be dead soon.
Reluctantly, Curtie accepts and departs. Meanwhile, the mobsters employ a professional Thai masseur to torture Jimmy.
Try and focus on my neck and shoulders.
After performing a few sarcastic remarks, a worn-down Jimmy finally cracks and divulges Curtie's full name.
Not because it hurts, but because he wouldn't care.
However, he insists that he doesn't know who Curtie works for or where he's hiding.
Why'd you help him against us?
Because I'm more afraid of him than I am of you.
The next day, the big boss receives a report that his men have checked every hospital but found no trace of Curtie. Advisor Boone suggests they involve the police and frame Curtie for the murder of some girls, ensuring his picture is broadcast on every TV. Their discussion is interrupted by the man who hired Curtie, revealing himself to be the boss's son, Rajadan. He explains that he returned from abroad upon learning of his father's troubles. Disappointed that his father didn't seek his help and instead relied on his advisor, Rajadan vows to handle Curtie personally. Jimmy is still under the mobster's watch and cannot move freely, so he pretends to go to the bathroom when his phone buzzes in his pocket. It's Curtie calling. Jimmy reveals that he has disclosed Curtie's name, leaving Curtie with no choice but to flee. Curtie acknowledges his decision to quit the case.
Already decided I'm out. What about you?
But asks Jimmy for one last favor.
Need to set a girl up.
Maybe 14? Adoption and private school. How much for that?
Jimmy quotes a price, and Curtie informs him that May is waiting at the temple, along with his guns and the money for their rental.
Hey, let's go!
After the call, Jimmy discards his cell phone in the trash, and the thugs frisk him. At that moment, Rajadan arrives and dismisses the thugs. It turns out Jimmy knows about Rajadan's intentions. He informs Rajadan that Curtie plans to leave the city, but Rajadan is determined to kill Curtie to secure his position, as he has already promised his father he would. Curtie arrives at the temple and presents May with a white dress, symbolizing her new start.
No one ever gave me.
He leaves her a substantial amount of money and asks her to wait there for the person who will come for her. With tears in their eyes, they say their goodbyes, and Curtie departs. While waiting for his flight at the airport, Curtie receives a call from Jimmy. Curtie tells him he's already at the gate. Jimmy admits he has collected his money, but reveals that May was not at the tower. He also discloses Curtie's location to the boss and his son.
Well, I hope this confirms my loyalty.
Realizing that May is missing, Curtie quickly takes a cab back to the temple. As he departs, he notices mobsters arriving at the airport and realizes Jimmy has betrayed him. Curtie incapacitates one of the gang's drivers and commandeers a car. He rushes to the temple, only to discover the monks have been murdered and May is not there. Driven by urgency, Curtie heads to the gang's stronghold and stealthily joins their convoy, blending in to infiltrate the area. Once inside, he wreaks havoc, crashing their cars and ramming the building. He opens fire, taking down more men, and eventually captures the boss as a hostage. It seems in this movie both ammunition and henchmen are inexhaustible. More men soon surround Curtie at gunpoint. At that critical moment, Rajadan and Jimmy arrive.
Oh, English.
Rajadan immediately orders Curtie's execution, but his father overrules him, wanting to know who employed Curtie.
Ask him.
We're gonna talk to this devil while he holds a gun to my father's head?
Hey, let this son of the bitch speak.
Just as Curtie is about to disclose the truth, Rajadan attempts to shoot him. In a sudden twist, Jimmy intervenes, shooting Rajadan, only to be wounded by the henchman moments later.
Changed my mind.
The boss realizes his son was scheming to seize control of the business. Curtie offers the gang boss a couple of $1 million for the release of all the girls he holds.
Bring the girls in.
When Curtie sees that May isn't among them, he inquires about the girl they kidnapped from the temple. Mr. Boone insists there was no one there except the monks. Desperate for answers, Curtie finds a photo of May on the wall and shows it to the boss, who declares him insane.
You're insane.
The boss explains that the girl in the photo was the first he brought in.
And that's me beside her.
And since he's also in the photo taken 30 years ago, Curtie realizes that May was a ghost. Shocked by this revelation, Curtie instructs them to take the money in the car. The boss then orders his men to lower their weapons and release them. Curtie and Jimmy gather all the girls, load them into a truck, and drive away. Once they reach a safe location, they part ways, and Jimmy assures Curtie that he will ensure the girls receive the help they need.